This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. And for today's show, we're going to be talking Celtics. We're going to be talking Larry Fitzgerald. We're going to be talking, what else? NBA games from last night. And we're going to be talking about anything else going on in the world of sports, as we always do, right? As far as the Celtics, we're going to start off the first segment talking about them, talking about their game with the Clippers last night. Celtics haven't looked good for a while. All right, the Cavs are looking better. The Raptors are the best team in the East right now, I guess you could say. And the Celtics can't shoot, can't play defense, can't do anything right now, okay? I feel like they're, actually, I'm not going to get too much into it, but nonetheless, just like I said, just to play out the show, we'll talk about Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to be re-signing with the Cardinals, coming back for one more year, so we'll talk about that. Talk about Larry Fitzgerald as his, pretty much talk about his career, and Larry Fitzgerald pretty much the player. Talk a bit about the Cardinals too, and pretty much maybe we'll get some NFC West talk in there. And then as we always do for every show, we'll be talking about, like I said, yesterday's NBA games, recapping those and talking about each team. So let's just start talking about the Celtics, all right? So yesterday, they played the Clippers. This one was in Boston. Clippers won this one 129-119. You had Danilo Gallinari with 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 of 11 shooting, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Tobias Harris, he had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 16 shooting, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. DeAndre Jordan, 30 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 11 of 14. I think 30 points was a career high for him. I can't remember exactly if that's the right stat I saw, but nonetheless, I mean, big game from him. Then you had Austin Rivers with only 10 points, 4 assists, shot 4 of 10. Avery Bradley, 10 points, shot 5 of 8. Off the bench, you had Montrezl Harrell with 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 of 5 shooting. Stat sheet's not going to tell you, but the dude did play extremely well on defense when he was out there. It's a nice little rim protector and was doing well pretty much on the offensive end also. Then you had Lou Williams also with 19 points, 6 assists, shot 6 of 18, 2 of 9 from the three-point line. Not the best shooting night from him, but nonetheless, I mean, knocked down shots when it mattered. And then you had Milos Teodosic with 10 points, 4 assists, shot 3 of 6, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. As for those Celtics, you had Al Horford with 20 points, 4 rebounds, no assists, shot 8 of 17, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Jason Tatum, a poor shooting night from him, 4 of 13 from the field, 10 points, 4 rebounds. You had Kyrie Irving with 33 points, 8 assists, 11 of 21 shooting, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. Jaylen Brown with 12 points, 8 rebounds, shot 4 of 12, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Then off the bench, you had Terry Rozier with 13 points, 7 assists, shot 5 of 12. And Marcus Morris with 13 points, 11 rebounds, shot 4 of 8, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Greg Monroe, 10 minutes in this one. He had 8 points, 5 rebounds, shot 2 of 3. Looking better and better as each game goes on with the Celtics. So, as you know from the stats I just read, Celtics lost that one by 10, okay? Celtics were pretty much playing from behind a whole lot in that one. They did take the lead, I think it was like in the fourth, like in the late third quarter. We're up by a couple and then pretty much was back and forth the entire time after that. And from about up until like 3 minutes left in the fourth, I mean, the Celtics were hanging in there. Like I said, once that 3-minute mark came, I mean, pretty much the Clippers just pulled away there. All right, so what's going on with the Celtics here? Okay, what's going on with the Celtics right now is that they've been without Marcus Smart for a couple of weeks, it seems. Or at least that's what it feels like. All right, he cut his hand. I think it was, can't remember which game it was after, but he cut his hand on like a little glass picture or whatever, and looking like he's going to be back after the All-Star break. Ever since he has been out of the lineup, you could tell that there was something different about the Celtics. There wasn't really like that fire with him, right? You didn't have that one guy that could create a spark or anything like that. You got Terry Rozier, who's been playing well, but like he just doesn't have like that little it factor that Marcus Smart has when he enters the court for the Celtics, all right? And I think that's one of the biggest things that they've been missing too, because their defense has been looking terrible, all right? Terrible. Marcus Smart, I would say, is probably the best defender on that team. Probably one of the best defenders in the NBA too, as far as guarding at his position and pretty much guarding every position too. He could guard the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. I don't think he can guard the 5. So either way, still pretty good there. Yeah, so they've been missing him big time, and it's just like that little spark that like they need. Like this team kind of looks dead. All right, not too much excitement, not too much going on. Pretty much just going out there, and I wouldn't say going through the motions, but there's no. It's just they're just playing basketball. That's it. Like there's no fire how they were playing. All right, no, like it's just boring, emotionless basketball. Okay, they're not really doing much. And another thing that they're missing a Gordon Hayward type player. Okay, they're missing a second scorer. They've been struggling pretty much to score. I know they put up 119 in this game, but nonetheless, other than this game, they've been struggling to score. Pretty much, I guess you could say all season. All right, they have the number 1 defense in the league as far as defensive rating goes, and that's one of the biggest things that's helped them get to this little 40-19 record. Yeah, 40-19 record. I think second in the East. They should be 2 games back of the Raptors, I believe. Let me double check that right now. But nonetheless, yeah, they're missing someone to pair with Kyrie Irving. Okay, they've been missing that. They've been missing something like that for the last few years. All right, when they had the 08 Celtics team, I was in the playoffs year after year. You had Paul Pierce, then you had Ray Allen and KG who could do a job. Then after that, I mean, pretty much it was a rebuild. Then you get Isaiah Thomas, and you had no one really to pair with him as far as scoring. Because when the Celtics made the playoffs, it was a couple of years with Isaiah Thomas, especially last year. I mean, Isaiah Thomas played well, but when they throw the double team at him, he has no one out to kick it out to, or no one can go create a shot. All right, they had that a bit with Evan Turner, but that's before they really started getting good. So now, I mean, that's what the plan was supposed to be. We're supposed to have a guy like Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward and pretty much have this offense that opened up a bit more and was free-flowing. But now, I mean, you need Kyrie Irving to be doing most of the work. And let's say he's getting shut down a bit, or, I mean, someone else needs to step up. You do got Terry Rozier, but you can't really play them on the court together, and they can't really utilize their talents enough when they're together because they both play the point guard position. So one's going to be feeling a little bit more uncomfortable than the other. All right, so that's where you need a guy like Gordon Hayward. You need like a player at the 3 or the 4 that can go out, create his own shot, and drop 20 points a game easily like it's nothing. So that's one of the biggest reasons why the Celtics have been struggling. I think they started off 16-2. Now they're currently 24-17 since then. Just really hasn't been playing well. Their point differential, they're only at plus 3.5 right now. All right, they're 4.5 games up on the Cavs, 2 games back of the Raptors, and the Celtics really got to figure it out after this All-Star break. Let me see right now. They're scoring 103 points per game. That's good for, let's see, that's near the bottom of the East. Let's see, 103.1. That might be the worst in the East, actually. Actually, the Heat are only averaging 100 points. Yeah, I think the Celtics are currently averaging the second worst offensive point total in the East. Yes, they are. All right, second worst. But like I said, as far as defensive, giving up points, they're only giving up 99, and that's pretty much the best by a mile in the East. So they really got to figure it out, okay? And with you not scoring points or anything like that, I mean, you're not going to be able to game after game hold teams like the Cavs under 100 or anything like that. Eventually, you're going to have to go out and score and keep up with them because look at the Cavs right now, right? Yeah, it's early. Yeah, it's only been 2 games, but nonetheless, they knocked off 2 good teams in the Celtics and the Thunder. All right, they're now finally playing team basketball. You got guys like Larry Nance out there and Jordan Clarkson doing their thing. Rodney Hood has been playing well off the bench. So as far as the Celtics go with them, I mean, Celtics got to be worried a bit, all right, because they didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. I was thinking that maybe they were going to go for a guy like Tyreek Evans or try and look for a scorer. Maybe sign a guy like Marco Bellinelli. I know they were trying to go for Joe Johnson in the buyout market, but, I mean, they struck out everywhere right there. So now it's pretty much what happens. What do the Celtics do going forward? Because obviously you can't bring in anyone new. Greg Monroe is pretty much your signing at the deadline, and now it's pretty much you're stuck with the team you got going forward. When the playoffs come, do you even bring Gordon Hayward back? I'm not so sure that they do. Because of the fact that, I mean, the Celtics have been a team that pretty much, they've been rebuilding since 2012, I think, 2013. Yeah, 2013. They've had a plan, stuck to it, gotten better year after year, all right? But with Hayward hurt, I'm thinking they probably don't bring him back, even if unless like he's like completely 100%, then you bring him back. But if he's like 90, 80%, I say don't because of the fact that, you know, why risk it and pretty much mess up the future, right? Gordon Hayward signed a long-term deal. He's going to be there next year. He's going to be there the year after that. Kyrie Irving, I think he's got 2 more years on his deal. I'm sure the Celtics are going to try and re-sign him unless somehow they think that Terry Rozier is the point guard of the future for that team, which I don't know. I'm not sure. Terry Rozier's been playing good basketball, though. But either way, you have a nice little foundation. You're set for the future, so I'm thinking if they make the playoffs, why even bring Gordon Hayward back? All right, unless he's 100%. You bring him back, like I said, you risk it. Team's been playing a certain way. You bring him back, you're going to have to integrate him a bit. Probably going to have him come off the bench, and I highly doubt that they'll start him. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he comes back at 100%, then that changes everything for the Celtics. Like I said, their biggest downfall right now is that they're down a score, okay? They're down a Gordon Hayward. They would have been a whole lot better than what they were. Because, even without Hayward, they've been pretty much the best team in the East for the better part of most of the season. Now it's starting to pretty much fall apart a bit for them. I'm not sure really what it's going to take for them to fix it, all right? I guess the All-Star game or All-Star break, you could say, came at the best possible time for them. I think Brad Stevens is going to start making changes too, because he was asked after the game if he was thinking about it or anything like that. Said he's going to go be pretty much over the All-Star break, going to be watching a lot of film. And, there probably are going to be a few changes to the lineup. I'm not sure really what you do as far as making changes to the starting lineup. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of interesting because maybe you send like a guy like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to the bench, insert Marcus Smart there. Or maybe, because I know they've been starting Horford at the 4 and Baines at the 5. Maybe you move Horford back to the 5 and you have Marcus Morris come in at the 4 and start there. I'm not sure really what they do. I think what I would do is I would move Tatum to the bench, have him run it with the second team with Terry Rozier to strengthen the second team a bit more. Then you insert Marcus Smart there into his spot. Celtics already play positionless basketball, so it would work there. So I think that's what you do right there, all right? I give the second unit a little bit more scoring, and I think with Marcus Smart in there in the starting lineup, yeah, he's not the best shooter or anything like that, but he's a guy who could play great defense, and pretty much he knows how to put up points if need be, all right? Marcus Smart isn't like a terrible offensive player by any means. He just can't shoot the 3-ball at all. That's one of his biggest downfalls, but nonetheless, I say move Tatum to the bench. He's been kind of struggling the last couple of weeks too, looking like he's starting to hit that rookie wall, so I say you move him to the bench, get him a little bit more comfortable, all right? Not too much pressure because you're going against other teams' second units. I think it worked there pretty much, and I think Tatum's play would elevate, at least for this season, because going forward, Tatum's going to need to be a starter on that team, but I think for at least this season, you move him to the bench, have him playing against lesser players, and pretty much build up his confidence there, and I think his points per game numbers will go up too after that, so we'll see how it all ends up for the Celtics. Talking about the Raptors too, the Raptors right now are looking really good, all right? I'm still not ready yet to say that they're going to make noise in the playoffs or anything like that, just because of the fact that, they're the Clippers of the East. They get bounced in the second round, and once playoff time comes, Kyle Lowry pretty much just turns into me, all right? Not too good. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Next up, we're going to be talking some NFL, talking Larry Fitzgerald, pretty much anything else going on in the NFL too, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. In that first segment, we talked about Celtics, pretty much how poorly they've been playing the last couple of weeks. Talked about what's been going wrong with them and pretty much what they need to fix it. Alright, what they need to fix it is they need a Gordon Hayward back, okay? Obviously, that's not going to happen probably till the end of this season. Probably, maybe he can come back in the postseason, but nonetheless, I don't think he is, all right? And their defense has been pretty garbage the last couple of weeks, too, and they're missing Marcus Smart, all right? Marcus Smart cut his hand, I don't know, swiping at a picture for some reason, but nonetheless, they need him back, too. I think they're going to be getting him back after the All-Star break, and I also said, too, that they should probably move Jason Tatum to the bench and start Marcus Smart when he gets back. Not because Tatum's been playing bad or anything like that. Well, actually, yeah, he hasn't been playing well the last couple of weeks, but I think you move him to the second unit. It's going to boost up his... It's kind of weird, because obviously getting demoted from the starting lineup to the second unit, you wouldn't think would boost up your confidence, but nonetheless, I feel like as far as just the season, because eventually he is going to become the starting 3 or 4 player for the team. But nonetheless, I feel like moving him to the bench this year kind of gives him a little boost of confidence because he'll be playing against second-team players, second-unit players all season long, and pretty much, I guess, it'll elevate his scoring a bit more, I think. I'm not sure he's ready to be starting with the team right now. So I say move a guy like Marcus Smart to the starting lineup, guy who's been there before, a guy who knows how to play against these guys, and have Tatum pretty much just develop as the season goes on. So that's what I think they should do. I mean, the Celtics are in a bit of trouble because, I mean, you got to worry about the Cavs who've been playing good team basketball lately, and you got to worry about the Raptors, even though that they're a team who chokes in the playoffs year after year. So we'll see how it all ends up as the season goes on. I mean, again, the Celtics could fix all their problems somehow, some way, but nonetheless, we just have to wait and see. All right, so let's talk NFC West. Let's talk Larry Fitzgerald. Okay? Let's talk Larry Fitzgerald coming back for another season. Let's talk him coming back for his 15th season. All right, Larry Fitzgerald has been in the league, obviously, for 15 years, and he is one of the best receivers of all time, but I feel like we haven't given Larry his enough respect. All right, I feel like we don't regard him in that same tier with guys like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins. Like, we don't really put him in that category. And I don't think we ever have put him in a category like that with top players in the league. Top wide receivers, I should say. All right, Larry Fitzgerald has probably been one of the most consistent receivers of all time. Let me look at his stats right here. All right, his career stats started off in 2004, had 58 receptions. Then 2005 has over 103, nearly 50, or has 1,400 yards. 2006, 69 receptions. 2007, 100 receptions, 1,400 yards. It actually had the same exact yard total in 2007 that he did in 2005. 2008, 96 receptions. 2009, 97, 2010, 90, 2011, 80, 2012, 71, 2013, 82, 2014, 63 receptions, 2015, 2016, and 2017, all years where he had more than 105 receptions, right? So the dude has not really gotten worse or anything like that. If anything, it's just his touchdown numbers aren't what they used to be. But nonetheless, Larry Fitzgerald has been, like I said, one of the most consistent receivers in the history of the NFL. All right, well, why don't we talk about him like he is one of the best receivers in the league? Why? All right. I feel like maybe it's because he just plays in Arizona, and Arizona is just one of those places where you really don't, how do I say, you don't really think of Arizona, they just don't get the media hype, I guess. All right, is what I'm trying to put out there. They don't get enough hype. All right. Not real good media presence or anything like that. Have they won a Super Bowl? I don't think they haven't won a Super Bowl. All right. So I think it's just more of he's not in a bad situation, but I don't know, it's just weird because now I'm thinking about Larry Fitzgerald should be talked about as if he is one of the greatest receivers of all time. All right, I'm not saying he's better than Randy Moss, T.O., or anything like that, but he should be in that conversation. All right, I feel like he's pretty much the Tim Duncan, I think, of the NFL. All right, Tim Duncan was consistent year after year, but that's the thing too. I don't know, what do people think of Tim Duncan? All right, I know I'm going from football to the NBA, crossing over a bit, but this is the sports podcast, so we're very vast in our knowledge. I think vast is the right word to say. I think, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So Tim Duncan, from when he was drafted, I think it was 96 or 98, was a solid player from then until he retired, all right? Even when he retired, yeah, you could tell his play diminished a little bit, but it wasn't like the dude was bad or holding the team back. He was still a top player on that team, all right? So, and I think with Tim Duncan, I don't know, do people regard Tim Duncan as one of the best to play? Do people regard him as a top 10 player? Let's see, if I had to go name my top 10 players right now, I'd go Michael Jordan, then LeBron, then Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem, then maybe a guy like Tim Duncan after that. I know I'm not thinking of everyone right now. It's just off the top of my head. I'm not looking at any list or anything like that. But nonetheless, I don't know. Tim Duncan just really isn't that guy that gets too much publicity. He doesn't get talked about, doesn't get the same amount of publicity as a guy like Kobe Bryant. Didn't really get talked about as much as a guy like LeBron or any of those guys, right? Tim Duncan, I'm not sure if it's just because, like I said, it's not the right media market, being in San Antonio, or him just going out, doing his business, just being a quiet guy year after year. But nonetheless, I think that's how Larry Fitzgerald is. And I guess I get Tim Duncan, I think he does get a little bit more respect than a guy like Larry Fitzgerald does in the NFL. But Larry Fitzgerald the dude's going to be gone after this year, and I think we've kind of underappreciated him as a receiver in the league, all right? Pretty much he's been that guy oh, yeah, there's Larry Fitzgerald doing his thing, doing his thing. So I think Larry Fitzgerald is a product of being good too often, I guess, if that makes any sense, all right? Because look at a guy like LeBron. LeBron's been the best player in the league for a better part of a decade, and, I mean, it hasn't been close, all right? Year after year, he could win the MVP, but it's just like, you can't give it to him year after year because it just wouldn't be right, all right? So if there's a guy that steps up, pretty much that catches our eye, you're like, oh, look what he's doing, then he's going to get the awards and stuff like that. And what I'm trying to say is, like, both LeBron and Larry Fitzgerald have been extremely consistent to where, I mean, I think we kind of forget about Larry Fitzgerald at times and look to the new shiny thing, all right? Look at the Antonio Browns. Look at the DeAndre Hopkins. Look at the Julio Jones, all right? So as far as Larry Fitzgerald coming back, I mean, he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down whatsoever, right? He's not the best fantasy wide receiver or anything like that, but nonetheless, the dude's been one of the best receivers in the history of the league. I think he's got to be top 10 in catches, got to be top 10 in yards too. So, I mean, I think he does deserve a little bit more respect, way more than what he's been getting too. So we'll see how he does for his final season. It's kind of interesting to see him coming back because he said he was going to wait and see pretty much what the Cardinals did at quarterback, looked at their moves, and if he liked it, then he'd be coming back. But the Cardinals don't even have a quarterback yet. But I think with him saying, yeah, I'm coming back, that kind of, to me, thinks that the Cardinals know what they're doing. Like, they know who they're gonna end up with, who they're gonna draft, or like I said, who possibly they could trade with. All right, I think Larry Fitzgerald knows who the quarterback's gonna be, and I think that's why he came back. All right, so let's think about the Cardinals for a moment as far as what they could do at quarterback. I think for some reason, I don't know. Like, I kind of think Nick Foles would be a good fit there, but there's the whole question of, is Carson Wentz gonna be ready come week 1 next season? All right. And if I'm the Eagles and I'm not sure, I'm not getting rid of Foles because of the fact I'm not sure if Wentz isn't going to be back in time, all right? Yeah, Wentz is going to be playing next season, whether it be mid-season or a little bit after that, but they're still kind of deciding, is he going to be back for the start of week 1? Not sure, all right? Because he did tear his ACL, what was it, week 14? ACL injuries take a whole year to pretty much, it seems like, to heal up and pretty much be back at 100%. So now that I think about it, I don't think the Eagles get rid of Foles, all right? And I was thinking that was probably the best, like, Arizona's probably the best landing spot for a guy like Foles to go to or get traded to. But now I'm thinking about it, like I said, I don't think Foles is leaving Philly, at least for this season, okay? And then let's see, what else would work for them? I mean, I don't know, Kirk Cousins, maybe they could go and try and sign a guy like him, but I doubt it. He hasn't, like, the Cardinals really haven't been talked about as much as a team that could go for him. It's more been Cleveland, the Jets, and the Broncos, so I'm sure Kirk Cousins is going to end up there. Let's see, maybe a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, maybe a guy like Case Keenum if the Vikings don't franchise him. You got to see what's going on with A.J. McCarron. Maybe he could be a good fit there. And A.J. McCarron's a bit of a weird quarterback, all right? Dude's been in the league for 4 or 5 years, I think. I'd have to double check that. But nonetheless, I think he played in a playoff game, didn't he? Yeah, I think he played a playoff game against the Texans. And didn't he win that game? Let me see if I can find out. McCarron. Let me see. But yeah, the dude's been in the league for a while, and I think... Yeah, actually, he's been in the league since 2005, so he's been in there for 3 years. All right, let me see right here. Yeah, hasn't really done much. I mean, he almost threw for 1,000 yards in 2015, but like I said, didn't really do any. He hasn't really been a guy that's been a starter or anything like that because they've had Andy Dalton. Let me see if I can find, because I'm pretty sure he played in a playoff game. Let me see, playoff stats. Let me see if I can find it here. But A.J. McCarron, I think, would be a nice little solid option for them. Let's see, playoffs. Yeah, he played one playoff game. All right, let's see, 23 out of 41 as far as completing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Let me see if I can find if they won or lost that game. I don't think I can. Actually, can you? No, you can't. All right, but nonetheless, he does have playoff experience. Did start in 3 games in 2000. Or no, that's not right. He played in 3 games in his career. He's played 11, 2-1 QB record, so he's been pretty good. All right. Career 920 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Obviously, if the touchdowns are better than the interception numbers, then it's got to be a big thing. But I think A.J. McCarron, if he wins his little hearing with the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe you could see him go to a team like the Cardinals. And as far as, say the Cardinals don't sign anyone in free agency or don't trade for anyone, I'm not really sure what you get with that first pick in the draft. Because I think they're picking 14th, I believe. I think Mayfield's going to Miami. Let me see. Do a little rundown of quarterbacks. I think Darnold will go to Cleveland, I think. Then I'll say Rosen to the Giants. And then Josh Allen will go to the Jets or Broncos, depending on which team gets Kirk Cousins. And again, this could all switch it up too, because the Browns could end up with Kirk Cousins also. So either way, that many quarterbacks will be off the board there. Then you got guys like Baker Mayfield, like I said, who's probably going to end up in Miami, I think. So then you're left with guys like Mason Rudolph, Lamar Jackson. I don't think they're taking Lamar Jackson, so maybe they trade back and take a guy like Rudolph later on in the first round. Who knows? But nonetheless, I mean, they got to know what they're doing at quarterback for Fitzgerald to come back and pretty much say, yeah, I'm returning for another year. All right, he's got to know at least what their plan is. So that's pretty much all that's going on right now. As far as like the NFC West news and notes, I mean, there's not really much going on right now. Like, I think, if anything, this is a year for the NFC West. More like this, talking about the Seahawks right here. This might be Pete Carroll's, like, if he doesn't make the playoffs, do you get rid of a guy like Pete Carroll? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's been kind of weird because, like, this should be their Super Bowl window still. They already have one. Could have won back-to-back if they would have ran the ball at the one. Still not over that. But nonetheless, I mean, it's looking like the Seahawks team is on their way down. So they really got to make a lot of big moves this offseason, pretty much get younger. All right. I think with the team currently they have now, I'm not sure if it's it's a playoff contender, but now you have to worry about the 49ers, and the Rams are already the best team in that division now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all ends up for the Seahawks. They got a lot of stuff they got to do in the offseason, but nonetheless, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about the NBA games from Wednesday night, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. All right, we were talking about A.J. McCarron a little bit. It turns out, I checked my phone before I started this segment, and he did win his grievance hearing with the Cincinnati Bengals, so A.J. McCarron will be a free agent this year. All right, where's he going to end up? Not sure, right? Like I said, the Cardinals could be a little landing spot. Maybe the team like the Browns, they did try trading for him at the deadline, tried giving up a second and third round pick for him, but in typical Browns fashion, they just didn't get the paperwork in on time, or Sashi Brown sabotaged it. Those are the two rumors that went down. All right. My personal favorite one was a third one. Not sure how true it is, but yeah, they didn't get the paperwork in time, but that's because they were too busy celebrating the trade. So, I mean, who knows what happened, but maybe he could end up with a team like the Browns. Obviously, Hugh Jackson likes him and does want him because he wouldn't have tried trading for him if he didn't. So, we'll see where he ends up. All right, I think A.J. McCarron is going to be a nice little safe. He's going to be like a Sam Bradford, just that doesn't get hurt all the time. Right? I think that's what A.J. McCarron is. And Sam Bradford, I mean, is a nice little safe quarterback for you. So, we'll see how it all ends up for them. But for this segment, we're going to be talking about the NBA games from Wednesday, so let's get into it. You had the Atlanta Hawks facing off with the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, and Detroit snapped their 3-game losing streak here, winning 104-98. For the Hawks, you had John Collins with the start in this one, 11 points, 10 rebounds, shot 3 of 8. Taurean Prince with 14 points, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 15, 0 of 6 from the three-point line. Dwayne Dedmon with 8 points, 7 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 from the field. You had Delaney with 11 points, 7 assists, shot 3 of 9. And then, let's see, off the bench, you had Plumlee with 4 points, 2 rebounds, shot 2 of 3 from the field in that one. All right. As for the Pistons, you had Blake Griffin with 13 points, 9 assists, 12 rebounds, almost a triple-double there. 4 of 10 shooting, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. Reggie Bullock with 15 points, 3 rebounds, shot 6 of 13, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Stanley Johnson with 14 points, 5 rebounds, shot 4 of 9. Andre Drummond with 13 points, 15 rebounds, shot 5 of 10. You had Ish Smith with a good game here. 20 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 8 of 13 from the field in that one. All right. Nice little win for the Pistons here, all right? Been struggling against bad teams the last couple of days. All right, we lost 3 in a row. I think they lost to the who did they lose to? They lost to the Nets and another team. I can't remember who else they lost to, but nonetheless, like I said, just weren't playing well. But I mean, if you're pulling out wins like this, it's going to help out. Obviously, you got to start beating the bad teams. I think they're still about 2 games back of the Heat for that 8th spot. So we're going to see if Pistons are going to be able to shift it into gear after the All-Star break. Maybe you get Reggie Jackson back, and maybe that helps. So I think that's been their plan all along, is to get Reggie back, and then once he gets back, pretty much plan is a go. So like I said, we'll see how it ends up for them. As for Atlanta, I mean, good thing for them too. They lost. Obviously, got to keep the tank going strong. So I guess it works out for both teams here. Then you got the Charlotte Hornets facing off with the Orlando Magic, and the Hornets won this one 104-102. You have Marvin Williams with 6 points, 6 rebounds. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist with 5 points, 2 rebounds. Dwight Howard, 22 points, 13 rebounds, 9 of 16 shooting. Kemba Walker had 20 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 6 of 19, 4 of 8 from the three-point line. Nicholas Batum with 14 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 5 of 11, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. And then off the bench, you had Jeremy Graham with 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 10, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. As for the Orlando Magic, you had Jonathan Simmons with only 5 points in this one, did have 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Evan Fournier, not the best shooting night from him. 5 of 15 from the field, 2 of 10 from the three-point line, 13 points there. Then you had DJ Augustine with 16 points, 4 assists, shot 5 of 11, 4 of 6 from the three-point line. And then you had Hezonja with 21 points, 10 rebounds, shot 10 of 20, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Been having a nice season so far this year. I know the Magic did decline his offer, so he'll be a free agent after this year. So he's going to go to a nice little team, pretty much be a solid player for wherever he goes. Then you had Mo Spates off the bench with 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 5 of 12, and 4 of 8 from the three-point line, all right? I mean, as for both of these teams, they're really the Magic have been trying to rebuild. And I saw a tweet earlier talking about which team has had it the worst the last few years, like the last 5 years, I guess you could say. It was between the Kings, the Magic, the Sixers, and I think the Suns. And I think it'd be the Kings, but I mean, the Magic are right there too. You had guys like Victor Oladipo out there. Didn't really do too much with him. Let him go. Now he's looking like one of the better players in the league. Not top 10 or anything like that, but he's having a great season. And the Magic really, they've got guys like Aaron Gordon and all them, but they just really haven't developed them at all. Enough to where they become team leaders and pretty much get better, right? The Magic, yeah, they draft a bunch of young guys, but they don't go anywhere. They're stuck, right? They've been stuck for a while, and I still think that the Kings have been the most miserable franchise the last few years, but, I mean, the Magic aren't far off just because of the fact that, like I said, they just can't develop and can't just get over this little youth movement thing that they got going on. Obviously, you need young players and all that, but they're not getting any better. They're kind of reminding the Timberwolves, all right, when they were drafting all the young guys. Yeah, they had talent, but, I mean, it's not like team-winning talent, all right? You know what I mean? But nonetheless, yeah, they lost. As for the Hornets, I mean, you want to talk about a team that's going directionless, that's them right there. I didn't trade Kemba Walker. I still think that they should in the offseason. If not, then, I mean, they're just going to keep losing with him. And, I mean, it makes no sense. Win with him or lose with him or lose without him. I say just lose without him because you lose without him, that means that you got another first-round pick or something that you could use. All right, so we'll see how the season plays out for the rest of the teams. But like I said, I mean, the Magic are just playing to lose now since they need that top pick in the lottery. As for the Miami Heat, they faced off with the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Heat were winning this one big time. I checked there, like 21, I think it was, at least, in that game, and I was like, oh, I'm not even going to pay attention to this one. The Heat won it, and then sure enough, when I checked the score at the end, when I was watching the Celtics-Clippers game, I think it was at the end of it, you saw that the Sixers won this one 104-102. For Miami, you had Hassan Whiteside with 16 points, 10 rebounds, shot 7 of 10. Goran Dragic with 18 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 6 of 14. Tyler Johnson with 12 points, 6 assists. You had James Johnson off the bench with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 8 of 10, 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Bam Adebayo with only 19 minutes in this one. Went 0 for 3 from the field, only 3 points, 2 rebounds, and then you had Dwayne Wade shooting 13 times off the bench, only hit 4 of his shots, 8 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. I'm not sure how I feel about Dwayne Wade taking 13 shots in this one, all right? Yeah, you got a guy like Wayne Ellington last night who didn't play well, only shot 2 of 9 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line, and only had 8 points, but nonetheless, I don't think Dwayne Wade should be out there taking anywhere from 12 to 15 shots a game for the Heat, all right? Dwayne Wade needs to step aside. Yeah, it's nice that you're back on the team and all that, but he needs to pretty much fall in line with them, right? He's not the leader of this team or anything like that. He's just an old guy on that team now. Yeah, like I said, I know he means a lot to that franchise. Is the best player that they've ever had besides LeBron, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, this is not his team anymore. All right, I'm not sure whose team it is, actually. There's no real true leader on this team. So I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe a guy like Dwayne Wade takes over. But nonetheless, I think that, like I said, he could be a leader, but fall in line with what they're doing. Don't go out taking 13, 15 shots a game or anything like that, because Dwayne Wade is a shell of himself. So we'll see how it all ends up for them. I just hope that this isn't the downfall for them, because they haven't been playing well the last month, I guess you could say. And as for the Sixers, you had Amir Johnson, who started in this one, had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. No Joel Embiid in this one either. Dario Saric, he had 19 points, 8 rebounds, shot 5 of 12, 3 of 8 from the three-point line. Robert Covington, terrible shooting night from him, 2 of 13 from the field, 1 of 8 from the three-point line, 7 rebounds, 9 points. Ben Simmons, he had another triple-double, 18 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, shot 8 of 15. J.J. Redick with 14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 6 of 19, 2 of 12 from the three-point line. And let's see, off the bench, you had Marco Bellinelli with 17 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. T.J. McConnell, fresh off the triple-double, only 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 of 6 from the field. I think the Sixers are going to be a team that makes the playoffs. Whether it be the 7th seed or the 8th seed, they're going to be making the playoffs, and I really hope that they end up facing I don't know. I feel like with the Sixers, they could face either the Celtics, the Raptors, or the Cavs, and it'd still be a fun series to watch, right? I think with the Sixers playing the Raptors, I think that's probably where the Raptors would struggle. That's the team that would struggle the most, right? Would be there. Then I guess against the Celtics and Cavs, I still think that the Celtics and Cavs will probably win that series in 6 games, possibly 5, but nonetheless, that'd be like the perfect, we're going to be here for a while type of series for the Sixers, right? I really want to see them in the playoffs. I think it's been a while since they've been there, and I think just imagine Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons out there, maybe somehow Markelle Fultz gets his confidence back up and learns how to shoot a basketball again. Maybe you got him out there. I mean, it'd just be fun to watch. So I really hope the Sixers make the playoffs, and sure enough, I do think they are. I think that they're going to end up finishing as the 7th seed. Then you got a team like Miami who's going to be fighting with a team like Detroit for that 8th seed. So we'll see how it all ends up. But Philly in the playoffs could be nice, dude. They're going to be a good team going forward. They just got to pretty much, just keep adding pieces to the puzzle, all right? You got Joel Embiid, you got Ben Simmons. You thought you had your starting point guard, Markelle Fultz. That really hasn't worked out too much this season. All right, not sure if it's just because of a shoulder injury or just because he's just mentally shook. But nonetheless, they just got to keep building and keep going, all right? If Markelle Fultz doesn't work out this season, then I think you got to go out and get another point guard. Not like a starting, just a guy to fill in until Fultz figures it out and pretty much can play well with this team. So, yeah, once again, I really want to see Philly in the playoffs because I do think that they could turn some heads here. Then as for the next game, we had the Indiana Pacers facing off with the Brooklyn Nets, and the Pacers won this one 108-103. All right, you had Thaddeus Young with 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 5 of 12 from the field. Bojan Bogdanovic with 14 points, 5 rebounds, shot 5 of 11, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. Miles Turner, 11 points, 14 rebounds, shot 2 of 8. Corey Joseph with 15 points, 11 rebounds, 5 of 12 shooting. Hit 1-3 in that one. Then you had Victor Oladipo with 25 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, took 24 shots, only hit 9 of them, shot 1 of 4 from the three-point line there. As for the Brooklyn Nets, you had DeMarre Carroll with 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 5 of 8 from the three-point line, 6 of 13 from the field altogether. You had Spencer Dinwiddie with only 7 points. Took 7 shots, didn't hit 1 of them. Did have 6 rebounds, 5 assists though. Allen Crabbe with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 9 of 16 from the field, 5 of 11 from the three-point line. Then off the bench, you had D'Angelo Russell with 18 points, 9 assists, shot 7 of 14, 0 of 2 from the three-point line. Really wish D'Angelo Russell didn't get hurt because that was my pick early on in the season for most improved player. All right, thought he was going to play well. Thought he was going to pretty much lead this Brooklyn team. Obviously, he wasn't going to lead him to the playoffs or anything like that, but I thought D'Angelo Russell was probably going to have the best season of his career so far. And that injury pretty much sent him to the bench because you got a guy like Dinwiddie who's been playing well all year. So, I mean, D'Angelo Russell's going to keep coming off the bench, or maybe, like I said, Dinwiddie had a bad game here. Maybe he has a couple more bad games, and maybe you insert a guy like D'Angelo Russell there. Jahlil Okafor didn't play in this one, had left calf tightness. Jahlil Okafor, I think we just got to say it. The dude's a role player in the league, and pretty much that's it. He's been a disappointment. I don't know. Would you consider a Jahlil Okafor a bust so far in his NBA career? I kind of feel like you have to, right? I mean, the dude just really hasn't put it together at all. So I think you have to consider him a bust there. Then as for the next game, you have the Washington Wizards facing off with the New York Knicks, and the Wizards won this one 118-113. Wizards are playing good ball right now, right? Yeah, even though they're without John Wall, I'm not ready to say that, they're a better team without him, but nonetheless, I mean, you can't really say that they haven't been playing better, I guess, without him, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the Wizards won this one 118-113. You had Markieff Morris with 13 points, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 11 from the field. Satoransky, the point guard, filling in for John Wall, had 9 points, 11 rebounds. Let's see, you had Otto Porter Jr. with 22 points, 6 rebounds, shot 10 of 18. Bradley Beal, great game from him, 36 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 14 of 22 from the field, 4-7 from the three-point line. And you had Mahimi off the bench with 17 points, 8 rebounds, shot 6 of 8 there. As for the Knicks, you had Michael Beasley with 16 points, 11 rebounds, 8 of 24 shooting from the field. Tim Hardaway Jr. with 37 points, 5 rebounds, shot 14 of 24, 6 6 of 9 from the three-point line. Great game from him. And his Cantor, dude's been on fire this season. He had 24 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 9 of 15. And then Courtney Lee with 8 points in this one. All right, it's kind of crazy. Who would have thought that Michael Beasley at this point in the season would be the, I guess you could say, best player on the Knicks? I don't know. Was Enes Kanter the best player on the Knicks, or is it Tim Hardaway? I think Tim Hardaway isn't consistent enough to be regarded as the best player on the Knicks right now. I guess. And again, I'm talking with Kristaps Porzingis out. All right, and I guess you could say maybe it's Enes Kanter because the dude's been lights out all season. But Michael Beasley is pretty much playing the dude's playing 40 minutes a game. Played 40 minutes yesterday. All right, I think you have to say that right now. Michael Beasley is like the Knicks' top player, just from how they use him and pretty much how many shots he's taken and all that. So, kind of weird. No one really would have expected that. And you had the Toronto Raptors facing off with the Chicago Bulls, and the Toronto Raptors won this one 122-98 easily. All right, you have Serge Ibaka with 20 points, 7 rebounds, shot 9 of 12 from the field. Jonas Valanciunas with 14 points, 9 rebounds, shot 7 of 9. Kyle Lowry had 20 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, shot 5 of 10, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. DeMar DeRozan, he had 7 points, 8 assists, shot 3 of 11. All right, then you had off the bench, you had CJ Miles with only 4 points here. You have Poeltl with 10.7 rebounds, and then Fred VanVleet with 11 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, shot 4 of 11 and 3 of 6 from the three-point line. For the Bulls, you had Larry Markkinen with 14 points, 6 rebounds, shot 4 of 10 from the field. Zach LaVine, he had 11 points, only shot 5 of 17, not a great game from him. Then you had Chris Dunn with 8 points, 3 of 9 shooting, 0 of 2 from the three-point line. And let's see, off the bench, you had Bobby Portis with 18 points, 3 rebounds, shot 8 of 14, 0 of 2 from the three-point line. All right, Raptors won pretty much winning games they're supposed to be winning, all right? Need to start beating bad teams and pretty much just building up that confidence for the playoffs because, like I said, we got the second half of the season still left to play, but once the playoffs get here, Kyle Lowry shrinks. Is he going to be able to step up or is he going to shrink again? So we're just going to have to wait and see as it all plays out, obviously. As for the Bulls, you got to be tanking more, right? They're 20-37, and, this Bulls team is very young, but they're competitive. So, they're pretty much like one franchise game-changing player away from not being a great team or anything like that, but pretty much elevating this rebuild a little bit more. As for the next game, you got the Sacramento Kings facing off with the Houston Rockets. The Rockets won this one 100-91, all right? Kings played pretty well in this one, all right? You had Justin Jackson with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 5 of 9 from the field. Willie Cauley-Stein with 12 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 6 of 16 from the field. De'Aaron Fox, 9 points in this one. So you had Bogdanovich with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 8 of 15, 4 of 8 from the three-point line. Buddy Hield only 12 points in this one, shot 5 of 14, not the best game from him. You had Garrett Temple off the bench also with 13 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 12, and 1 of 5 from the three-point line. As for the Rockets, you had Clint Capella with 13 points, 11 rebounds, shot 6 of 11. Chris Paul, same shooting numbers for him, 6 of 11 from the field. Did have 19 points though, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. James Harden with 28 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, shot 7 of 19, 5 of 15 from the three-point line. Then off the bench, not too many good games from anyone there. You had Brian Anderson shooting 3 of 9 from the field, 8 points, 8 rebounds. And then Joe Johnson in his first game with the Rockets had 9 points, 3 rebounds, shot 2 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. And Gerald Green, he had 2 points, 2 assists, or 2 rebounds, shot 1 of 7 from the field there. No Trevor Ariza or Eric Gordon this one with Trevor Ariza out with a straight left hamstring and then Eric Gordon out with a right knee contusion. I was impressed with the Kings though, all right? Kings usually would get blown out in the game like this, but they hung around and competed. So, that's all you could ask for from a team like that. As for the next game, we had the Oklahoma City Thunder facing off with the Memphis Grizzlies. The Thunder won this one 121-114. You had Melo with 19 points, only had 1 rebound, shot 7 of 18, 4 of 10 from the three-point line. Paul George with 28 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 10 of 15, 6 of 9 from the three-point line. Steven Adams, he had 11 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 from the field there. Russell Westbrook with the triple-double, 23 points, 15 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 6 of 14. As for the Grizzlies, you had JaMychal Green with only 5 points in this one. Dylan Brooks, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 15. Marcus Gasol, he had 10 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 4 of 11. Tyreek Evans with 23 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 8 of 18 from the field, 4 of 7 from the three-point line, looking like he's continuing his great season. You had Andrew Harrison, who's been surprising me all year, all right? I think this was like the first year where Andrew Harrison playing extremely well, too. He had 28 points, he fouled out in this one, too. All right, yeah, so he had 28 points, fouled out, shot 10 of 16, and 5 of 5 from the three-point line. And then you had Barton off the bench with 17 points, 8 rebounds, shot 7 of 12, and 1 of 2 from the three-point line. As for the next game, you had the Lakers facing off with the Pelicans, and look what we got here. We got Rajon Rondo, Isaiah Thomas getting into it, and both getting ejected. I'm sure this had to do with something with the fact of Rajon Rondo saying that pretty much questioning why they'd give Isaiah Thomas a tribute and all that. All right, and that's one of the things I like about Rondo. He says whatever that comes to his mind, all right? You had Julius Randle with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 3, or actually let me get into the score, right? The Pelicans won this one, 139-117. Like I said, you had Randle with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 9 of 13. Brandon Ingram with 21 points, 5 assists, shot 9 of 17. Joe Hart with 15 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 6. Off the bench, you had Isaiah Thomas. He played 5 minutes, had 3 points in this one. Kyle Kuzma, 23 points, 5 rebounds, shot 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 8 from the three-point line. As for the Pelicans, you had Anthony Davis with a monster game, 42 points, 15 rebounds, shot 5 of 18 from the field, 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Rondo in his 8 minutes had 4 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 2 of 5 from the field. Drew Holiday with 24 points, 11 assists, 10 of 19 shooting. Etuan Moore with 14 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. And then off the bench, you had Nikolai Mirotic with 16 points, 7 rebounds, shot 7 of 17, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. I like how the Pelicans have been playing, all right? Lakers really don't play good defense, but nonetheless, I mean, you got Anthony Davis dropping monster games here. I mean, they're always going to have a chance. I think they're still the 8th seed. Let's see. Are they still the 8th seed, or did Utah catch them? Let me see right here. I know Utah's not far off from that 8th seed either. Utah is currently a game and a half back of the 8th seed. The Clippers are a half game back. And like I said, the Pelicans currently have that 8th seed with a record of 31-26. Currently tied with Denver too. And only only a game back of the Thunder for that 5th seed. Actually, that's kind of crazy to see. Only 3.5 games back of the Timberwolves and just 3 games back of the Spurs. Wow. That's crazy how from 3 to 8, there's only 3 games that separate each team. Actually, they're 2.5, 2.5 away from the 4th seed. All right. As for the next game, speaking of the Jazz, they beat the Phoenix Suns 107-97. All right. You had TJ Warren for the Suns with only 5 points in this one. Alfred Payton with 13 points, 11 rebounds, shot 5 of 11. Devin Booker with 28 points, shot 8 of 20, 6 of 14 from the three-point line, had 5 rebounds. Off the bench, you had Josh Jackson with 22 points, 7 rebounds, shot 10 of 15, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. As for the Jazz, you had Donovan Mitchell with 24 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 10 of 24, 4 of 11 from the three-point line. Joe Ingles, not the best shooting night from him, 4 of 16 from the field, 3 of 9 from the three-point line, 13 points in that one. You got Royce O'Neal with 19 points, 5 rebounds. Derek Favors with 18 points, 12 rebounds, shot 7 of 9. Off the bench, you had Jay Crowder with 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 5 of 12 from the field in that one. As for the final game of the night, we had the Golden State Warriors facing off with the Portland Trailblazers in Portland, and Portland came out with the win in this one. They won 123-117. You had Draymond Green for the Warriors with 16 points, 7 assists, 12 rebounds, shot 6 of 13. Kevin Durant with the 50 spot here, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 17 of 27, 6 of 14 from the three-point line. Stephen Curry with 17 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 6 of 17, 3 of 10 from the three-point line. And Klay Thompson also with 17 points there, shot 3 of 7 from the three-point line. As for the Blazers, you had Joseph Nurkic with 17 points, 13 rebounds, shot 7 of 14. Damian Lillard with 44 points, 8 assists, 14 of 25 shooting, 4 of 11 from the three-point line. CJ McCollum with 29 points, 5 rebounds, 12 of 26 from the field, 3 of 8 from the three-point line. This is exactly what I've been waiting for the Blazers to do, right? Both Lillard and McCollum played extremely well, and just like that, you could beat the Warriors. So, I mean, of course, if they played each other in the playoffs, I mean, the Warriors would win the series easily. But nonetheless, this is good for the Trailblazers. Currently the 6th seed right now, half game back of the Thunder for that 5th spot, and 2 games back of the Timberwolves for that 4th spot. So, I mean, Portland keeps playing like this, dude. They're going to end up moving up a bit. So we'll see how it all ends up. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about anything else going on in the world of sports and going to make my picks for tonight's NBA game. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. today's show, we talked about today? Talked about the Celtics, how they've been playing pretty poorly the last couple of weeks. What else? We talked about the Cardinals bringing back Larry Fitzgerald, I should say, coming back to the Cardinals. All right, talked a bit about that. Talked a bit about A.J. McCarron. He's going to be a free agent this year. Got a bunch of got some opportunities to go to places where he could start. And then in the last segment, we talked about the NBA games from, what was it? Yeah, Wednesday. I always get my days mixed up on Thursday. Sometimes I'll feel like we're doing the show on a Friday or whatever. But nonetheless, yeah. So yeah, yesterday today we talked about the games from yesterday. So for this segment, we're going to talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. There's only 2 NBA games going on tonight since the All-Star break is this weekend. All right, so we'll be talking about those 2 games, making my picks for them as we always do. So that means tomorrow's show is going to be a bit different because we have no NBA to talk about. But nonetheless, we'll be doing it. All right. So let's see. What do we want to talk about right now? Let's talk about Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh says that he wants to come back, said that he's not done yet. And, I mean, I got to figure out how old Chris Bosh is right now because I feel like that has to factor into it all. All right, as far as, obviously, Chris Bosh wants to come back, and if he wants to come back, I'm sure he'll find a team to play on. But how good would Chris Bosh be? All right, let me see. He's 33, all right? That's pretty high up there in age. All right, how well do we think a 33-year-old Chris Bosh would play in the NBA right now? All right, I think that Chris Bosh, I mean, again, it's all up to him. Doesn't really matter to me, but personally, I think that Chris Bosh should just probably stay retired. All right, I'm not sure what team, he's going to go to a contending team. He wouldn't be going to a team that's trying to rebuild or anything like that because there's no place for him there. He'd be more of like a Joe Johnson type of guy where he gets bought out. And obviously, I'm just comparing situations or whatever. Chris Bosh is like a guy that gets bought out and he's old and stuff, but he could bring a little bit of production to a contending team. So that's Chris Bosh right there, all right? And I don't know, maybe because he did sit out for a couple of years, so I mean, he hasn't been playing a bunch of seasons full on in a row, but nonetheless, I mean, I don't know. The dude's 33. I'm not really sure how much I could trust a 33-year-old guy like that to come out and play well, all right? Like I said, he's probably going to be a guy, if he ever does come back, going to go to a contending team, one that comes off the bench, unless somehow he miraculously surprises everyone and shows that he can still ball up even at 33. So we'll see how it all ends up for him. But like I said, Chris Bosh, as far as him coming back, I think he probably could do it, but I'm not sure how well he would play if he did try doing it, all right? Let's see what else we got going on in sports. We got Tiger Woods shooting 1 over par, all right? That's +1 for all those who don't know what 1 over par is, okay? +1 is not good. It's not terribly bad, but it's not great or anything like that. It's average. All right, so Tiger Woods +1 or whatever. I'm not the biggest golf fan or anything like that, but it's Tiger Woods, so we got to talk about him for a bit. All right, Tiger Woods, like I said last time we talked about Tiger a couple weeks ago, I think it was. I mean, the dude, Tiger's just out there to golf now. All right, I'm sure in his mind he's trying to go out, maybe win some tournaments, play well, win a Masters, what do they call it? A major tournament? Yeah, win a major tournament, stuff like that. Because I feel like if Tiger were to ever win a major tournament, then I say after that you just hang it up and right off into the sunshine. I think that's the only reason why Tiger's still out here, all right? Because there's really nothing else for him to do. I mean, the dude's been around since, what was it, the late 90s? So, I mean, I don't know. The dude just goes out there, wins a major, possibly. I don't think he ever will. I think he's going to be chasing that for the rest of his life, honestly. But nonetheless, if he goes out and does that, good for him. If not, no, it's Tiger Woods, all right? So there's really not too much going on with Tiger right now. Let's see. We got the Olympics, the medal tracker. We got Norway with 17, Germany with 15, Canada with 13. Let's see. I wonder how the good old US of A is doing right now. Let me see if I can find it out. Let's go full medal tracker for the Olympics. Let's see. You got USA in 5th as far as medals, right behind the Netherlands, all right? USA currently has 8 total medals. That's not good enough, all right? We need to be the best at everything. No, I'm just kidding. How is Japan in 7th, all right? Japan, does it snow in Japan? Is that a thing? Does it snow in Japan? I'm not sure. It's kind of weird to see these countries out here in the Winter Olympics. I mean, it seems like Spain. I mean, I doubt it snows in Spain. Korea, obviously, it's snowing since they're out there right now. I don't know. Nonetheless, yeah, right now you got Norway in 1st as far as the medal count. Germany, Canada, Netherlands, USA, and then to round it out, you got Japan with 7. All right, USA. Being real here, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the ice skating or anything like that. I'm more of the hockey guy for the Winter Olympics. All right, Summer Olympics is more, I guess you could say that for everyone in the U.S. too, more of the exciting side of the Olympics. All right, Winter Olympics is cool, which is hockey or whatever, but Summer Olympics, you got sports like basketball, you got soccer out there that I enjoy watching, and then a bunch of other stuff. But nonetheless, I mean, right now we're currently in 5th place as far as the medal count, so hopefully that gets better as the Olympics go on. All right, let's see. What else do we got going on in the world of sports? You got Kentucky. Kentucky is garbage. All right, they are terrible. Let me see if I can find their actual record right now. Kentucky might not even make the tournament, I don't think. All right, it's just based off of how they're playing right now. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the conferences. So I can just... All right, yeah, we're looking. Got to go all the way to the bottom. SEC. Let's see. Where are you guys at? Southeastern Conference. Kentucky is currently 6-7 in their conference. All right, let's see. Their overall record is 17-9. I don't think you're making the conference or the national tournament with a 6-7 conference record. Actually, I don't know that. How is Texas A&M 6-7 in their conference, 17-9, same record as Kentucky? But I don't know. Kentucky's lost 4 in a row actually too. But Texas A&M is ranked right now, and I'm still it's just crazy to me that the fact that Auburn is a top 10 college basketball team. They're 23-3, 11-2. Bruce Pearl is doing quite the job out there in Auburn as far as that basketball team goes. It's just ridiculous and weird to see. I mean, you would never think Auburn is a powerhouse in college basketball, but nonetheless, here they are. So, I mean, yeah, Kentucky just hasn't played well this season. It's probably the worst year John Calipari's had since he's been in Kentucky. He didn't make the tournament or anything like that. He's going to get fired. There's no doubt, all right? Kentucky's demands excellence, all right? He really hasn't done much as far as everything else, so we'll see. He's got, one national championship since he's been there. So, yeah, if he doesn't make the tournament, I think it's Splitsville for Kentucky and John Calipari. Maybe he finally makes that jump to the NBA everyone likes to talk about all the time. All right, let's see. Anything else going on? I think that's it. That's all we got to talk about right now. Again, pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. MLB is going to get started up pretty soon, but we're going to finish up the show talking about the 2 games going on tonight. Going to make my picks. First up, we got the Denver Nuggets facing off with the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. This game's on at 5 o'clock. I'm going to go with the Nuggets in this one. All right, Nuggets have been playing good basketball. Gary Harris has been shooting the ball well this season. So has Jamal Murray. Nikolai Jokic has been having a nice little season. Just needs to fix up the defense better. So I'm going to go with the Nuggets in this one. All right, I'm going to take them over Giannis Antetokounmpo and those Bucks. Then for the final game of the night, we got the LA Lakers facing off with the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. This game's on at 6 o'clock on TNT. Isaiah Thomas got ejected yesterday, so we're going to see him today. Last time I think he played the Timberwolves, he clotheslined Andrew Wiggins, knocked him out pretty much, and got ejected from that one. I don't think he'll be getting ejected from this one, so I don't know who. I'm going to go with the Timberwolves. They're the better team right now. Lakers aren't the best road team, I don't think. Let me see if I can, let me see. Lakers, I'm not sure what their road were. Oh, yeah, they're 9-19 on the road. Timberwolves are 23-7 at home. Lakers don't really play defense, so I got to go with the Timberwolves in this one. Timberwolves are favored by 10, but I think it's going to be closer than that. So we'll see how it all ends up. But to recap, just for the 2 games, I got the Nuggets beating the Bucks, and I got the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Today we talked about the Celtics, their little slide that they've been on. We talked about Larry Fitzgerald coming back, talked a bit about A.J. McCarron, talked about the NBA games from yesterday, and then for this segment, talked about pretty much anything else going on in the world of sports. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.